safety ordinance. I have some information to share with you. I have some handouts I gave you, but first, here's a map of our lovely Lebanon Valley with our mountains and our creeks and our forests highlighted in different colors. And we have some pipelines that traverse our county, over 100 miles, 4 major pipelines shown in red and blue. The blue is the natural gas, the red would be hazardous liquid, which could be fuel oil, gasoline, primarily. Okay. Over 100 miles of pipeline. These are not the pipelines that are proposed. These pipelines have been here for a long time. Okay. The next map I would like to show you is the county GIS property lines imposed on the county map with these pipelines. And all the little dark lines you see are boundary lines of parcels. Of course, we have the city right in the center where you have hundreds and hundreds of properties very condensed. Okay. Now with that in mind, in my handouts, going in order, the first one that you have in front of you is a map of the United States, and this is provided by the National Transportation Safety Board. It is the map of the major natural gas and oil pipelines in the United States. And as you can see, the Midwest and Southwest is just inundated with pipelines. That's where the oil and the gas traditionally had been for the history of our nation. We're only now finding it in new places due to new technologies, the Dakotas, Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio. The oil is in the middle of the country, and most of the people live on the east or the west coast, so they have to get it to the people that want to use it. So there's 4 modes that they could get the oil and gas to those locations. They can get it there by railroad, they can get it there by truck, they can get it there by boat, or they can get it there by pipeline. Okay. The next in the stapled documents is an article that hit the news just this morning. Last evening there was a railroad accident in Virginia. 50,000 gallons of fuel oil exploded and caused a fire. National Transportation Safety Board estimates that it is 70 times more hazardous to transport hazardous fuels, explosive fuels, by train than it is by pipeline. I don't have the number, but I would imagine and expect that it's going to be even far more dangerous to transport it by truck. If you recall, about 2 years ago we had a truck explosion on I-81 and the road was closed and reconstructed for over a year. So as you look at the map of Lebanon County, the same pipeline routes that go from west to east also parallel I-81 that goes from west to east, the turnpike that goes from west to east, and the Norfolk Southern Railroad that goes right through the center of our county and through our highly densely populated areas. So if the oil companies who need to get their product to market, and the market insists that they get it there, can't put it into pipelines, then they have to put it on a more dangerous pathway on either the roads or the railroads. The boats, I believe, are uneconomical. The next document I have for you, in that same first set of stapled, is from the United States Department of Transportation Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration website. And the persons and people, the good intended servants who want to protect people, are correct in their assertion that pipelines represent a hazard. They do explode, they do leak. That website, if you go to it and you get to the right page, it'll have groups of 5 to 10 years where you can go in and see the report of all the pipeline accidents in the United States. And there are many, but there are 70 times less than there are railroad accidents. So the point there, of course, is that the Model Pipeline Safety Ordinance is a good idea. It is excellent that our public servants want to protect the people. I join the commissioners in their desire to do so, and I applaud you for that, and I would like to help to get that protection and safety in place in the best way possible to balance all the different needs. Okay, the next set of documents I provide you, paper stapled, would be your pipeline safety ordinance. I've highlighted just a few passages to point out that the document does admit It is
May
not
I,
very,
may
yes,
I
sir.
interrupt for just a moment,
Yes,
please?
sir.
You're operating under mistaken information here,
Okay.
because this is not the county commissioner's ordinance.
Okay.
This has never been discussed by the county commissioners. Two of us never even saw, we saw this draft because Commissioner Litz, our chairperson, requested the planning department to just come up with some examples of ordinances that deal with pipelines. Chris Troop did that. He did not recommend that this be represented as the county ordinance or be submitted to our municipalities. I was not copied the email that went to the municipal leaders. I found out about this at a library dinner on Saturday evening when one of the township supervisors came to me and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing circulating this ordinance and recommending that we adopt it?" So that needs to be known, and if you came here to pick a fight with the county commissioners, you're under a false information.
I'm not here to fight, sir. I'm here to participate and hopefully help, and to request that any formal action that was taken,
There was none.
please
I
be
want that
reconsidered.
clarified.
Okay, yes, sir.
There
Thank you
was
very
none.
much. I appreciate the clarification.
Did you have something, Commissioner?
No, I just, that is my thought as well, that this is kind of a, information is good, but maybe this could be expanded to a workshop for us
Sure.
on a Wednesday afternoon when we could invite the public and really, it's all good stuff, and I think it's, but yeah, this thing is, and I think a lot of people misunderstood it, that it was endorsed by us, and that is not the case. We you know.
Again, following that train of thought, I would like to volunteer to serve on a committee appointed by you, if you so desire, to assist in the preparation of an ordinance, if that is what your intention is. The draft that is now understandably not official does have some very negative consequences. And I'll just skip this document and go to the larger handouts. Using the GIS database and the map that's up here, I obtained from the county records that a 100-foot buffer on each side of a pipeline, of which there would be a no residential construction zone, affects 871 tax-paying property owners along those 4 routes. This is not the new pipeline. These are the existing pipelines that have been in the ground for 60 years. A 500-foot buffer on each side of a gas right-of-way affects 1,781 property owners. I happen to fall in both categories, and just quickly, attached to that map is a subdivision from 1963 by the Mattie Brubaker estate, of which there were 4 lots plus residual land created. I bought 3 of those lots in 1992. They're bisected by 3 gas pipelines that were installed via right-of-ways acquired in 1932, 1935, and 1936. Off the larger farm, those 80 years ago, the 100-acre farm was paid $500 for the right-of-ways. So Jeff Steckbeck today can get no compensation from the gas companies. They paid for their right to go through there. So if an ordinance is put in place now by a municipality that takes away my rights to use my lots, I can't go to the gas companies to get them to pay me for it. They've already paid me through the predecessor owner. So that means that if I lose the value of the building lots that I've owned for 22 years and paid taxes on, I need to be compensated by someone else. And I don't think the municipality would want to compensate me, nor would the county, understandably. They don't want to pay for things that they don't need. On the flip side, it's unfair to me to lose that value. So that's one of the consequences that needs to be thought about by the committee. And so you know, I'm 56. I bought them 22 years ago, but on the next page, I did a survey plan, I did a flood study, I bought the sewer EDUs, I had the survey completed, and I have laid out 2 houses. One's my retirement home and one's for my in-laws. I'm just going to build those in about the next 3 years. If this ordinance goes in place, I can't do that. If a buffer zone is desired, adding it to the zoning ordinance now, stating that the pipeline company must acquire the buffer zone, That benefits the property owners because now they can negotiate with the gas companies to buy those buffer zones. If you apply the buffer zones after the right-of-ways are acquired, the property owner's left with no negotiating power, and he gets hurt. So there is a way to accomplish the goal, but I don't think the model ordinance is the way to do it.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're
And yes, I did send out an email, and I did ask Chris to research this, and it came from Tri-County where it's a proven ordinance. It seemed like it was something to pass along for the toolbox for the municipalities. We had done that with our comprehensive plan, and we did not think about or consider pipelines at that time when we did our comprehensive plan, and things are happening so quickly that I shared that with them and said if they see merit in it, please feel free to adopt or amend, whatever. But because the county does, how can I say, administer a lot of zoning for a lot of municipalities, it's nice if things have some consistency. And I have been asking to have a pipeline committee and things like that, so I think that your input would be most welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Question.
Yes.
Steckbeck, bottom line, are you for or against the pipeline?
Well, my personal preference is, I'm a free market capitalist, I'm for the pipeline. Certainly, pipelines have been demonstrated to be effective and useful. Safety can be improved. So, modern technology, I'm in favor of pipelines, I'm in favor of Keystone XL, I'm in favor of the Williams Company pipeline. But it needs to be done safely.
I think we all agree on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would like to be included in that workshop from an agricultural standpoint. I've been involved with these pipelines for 20 years. The most recent one in Schaeferstown where they put the road through, and the Fisher farm that had their well contaminated, which feeds the cows, which drops their production. And I think there should be some policies of how to enact these. Some are really great to work with. And you write a recommendation up, they disturb the soil, the farmers farm that ground, they need to still get the production. If they don't put it back, and the experience of the Marcellus shale pipelines in the north, they have a lot of best management practices to put it back the same way. So I think we need to adopt something. So I'd like to be involved in that if I could somehow.
And you're certainly knowledgeable, so we would welcome your input. Del Voigt from Penn State Extension.